What's up YouTube, it's TF Collector, and today I'll be reviewing the Transformers Age of the Primes Leader Class, the 13 Megatronus the Fallen, the Age of the Primes figure that I am most excited for thus far. But with that being said, let's go ahead and move Megatronus off to the side and take a look at his packaging. On the front you have nice images of Megatronus in robot and tank mode. He transforms in 38 steps, more than meets the eye, 8 and up. Transformers Age of the Primes, the 13 Megatronus the Fallen. Hasbro on the side there. On this side, a nice profile shot of Megatronus. There's his name and the line again. On this side, you have a shot of Megatronus, Optimus, and what I'm assuming is probably Quintus Prime, and he is a leader class. Up here, till all are one. On the back, the 13 Megatronus the Fallen. Some nice pictures of all he does. He comes with the Requiem Blaster, and he is authentic. He is Hasbro. On the top, Megatronus the Fallen, Takara Tomy. On the bottom, a barcode, and that's about it for the packaging. And before we check out Megatronus himself, he does, of course, include his instruction manual, the 13 Megatronus the Fallen, Age of the Primes, 8 and up, Takara and Hasbro on that. And with that being said, here is Megatronus the Fallen in his big, beefy, awesome looking tank mode. But yeah, it looks really good. Let's just get in close and take a look at all the detailing on this figure. You have some nice purple and this gold that is used all throughout the figure. Some nice silver here and here on these spikes. Nice detailing all throughout. You can see even up here some nice detailing. Some more gunmetal gray coloring used down here. Some yellow and purples all throughout. You have a little scope going on here. A little missile rack going on that side. You do have your big cannon there. You have the Megatronus Prime logo right up top there. On the back, you do have his feet, but they do kind of work here in the tank mode. I don't think that necessarily looks bad, but overall, there is the top and there is the bottom. He does have all these rolling wheels, so he can roll nicely across flat surfaces. And overall, I think this tank mode turned out very, very nice. Now, accessory-wise, Megatronus comes with a lot. One is actually, or two rather, form the cannon that is being used here in tank mode, so we'll take a look at that later. But some other ones he comes with are this axe, done in a nice purple with some gunmetal gray, just rubber up here. Kind of like a staff axe. I don't really know what this would be, but it looks pretty nice. He does come with this nicely silver painted sword with some nice details all throughout. That looks freaking awesome. And he does come with not one, but two of these flames that look pretty freaking sick. And he does come with two more smaller flames that also look pretty awesome. And that is what you get with Megatronus. And as far as storing the accessories here in tank mode, we can bring in the sword and the little axe spear looking thing. And basically, they're just going to tab together. You want their ports facing the same way, or their posts rather. And what you're going to do is you're going to take the post of the sword and it's going to plug in right here. And then back here, I'm not sure if I can get a good shot of this, but you can see there's a little notch right there and the tab there on the end of the axe. We'll just go right into that notch. So that's how you store the sword and the little spear looking thing. And then when it comes to all these flames, you have multiple options you can do. You have ports on the front, you have ports on the top, you have ports back here, ports all over. What I like to do is plug the two smaller flames right here, like so, and then take the two bigger flames and plug them up top. So just put one there. Come here, put one there, and that is how I like to personally have that looking, and I think that that is pretty sick, if I say so myself. And as far as articulating goes with Megatronus here in tank mode, the tank can spin left to right, like so, and it can also move up and down. Popped this off, but it can move up and down and left to right, which is very nice. And for a few quick comparisons with Megatronus here in tank mode, here he is with Age of the Primes Voyager class Prima Prime. So you can see how he looks with Prima there, and I think they do look pretty good together. And here he is with the one he loves and unfortunately offs in many iterations of Transformers. There he is with Age of the Prime, Solus Prime. So you can see how those two look together. And overall, I think the Age of the Primes lineup is looking pretty good so far in their vehicle modes. And that's about all I have to say about the tank mode here. I think it looks pretty awesome, and I am very happy with the way it turned out. But with that being said, let's go ahead and transform Megatronus. So the first thing we're going to want to do is just untab these arms from this cannon on each side, and we're going to place that off to the side for now. Now what we can do is just grab this whole section that the arms are on and just pull it up and untab it here as well, and it will double hinge up. That tab there just goes into that slot, and these two tabs go into those two slots. Just get that up and out of the way for now, and we're going to work on Megatronus's legs. So the first thing we're going to want to do is just pop this piece up and bring that up out of the way. Untab this side. Come on, untab, and pop that up out of the way like so. Then you can take this butt flap and these two tabs, we'll just tab in up in there and get those tabbed in. Now there is a tab on the inside of the leg here, so you're going to want to angle it out like this and then bring it down and it will snap into place like so. Do the same thing on the other side, bring that out, bring it down, snap that into place like so. Grab these hip skirts here and bring them down, which might untab these pieces, but we're going to keep those together for now. We'll come back to that in a little bit. And now we're going to work on his feet. So we're just going to bring up the tank treads, bring the foot down, bring the tank tread back down, and then this piece here will tab in to the tank tread there. So just swing that around. That should tab in nice and securely. Do the same thing on the other side. Bring the tank tread up, bring the foot down, bring the tank tread back down, swing this piece around, and it will tab in to the tank tread. And then we're going to rotate 180 degrees at the knees so that they are facing that way. And if these arms will stay out of my way, we're now going to rotate at the waist 180 so that we have all of that oriented the right way. And there are Megatronus's legs complete. And now we're going to shift the camera up a bit so you can see what I'm doing, what I'm talking about. Now we're going to go ahead and want to untab these pieces, and we're going to want to take this piece, make sure it's swung all the way down on this hinge, take this piece, swing it all the way forward, and now we're going to work on this section. So the first thing we're going to want to do is bring these sections out, rotate them 180, and bring them down. Do the same thing on the other side, bring this section out, rotate 180, bring it down like so, and now these pieces will swing around to the back and tab in back there. And then these pieces, as you can see, are on a double hinge, so you're just going to hinge them downwards and get them down in there. Now what we're going to do is come to this chest piece. We're going to rotate these pieces out, bring this down, and we're going to rotate this piece 180 degrees like so. Make sure those pieces are out, and then we're going to swing the head 180, and then we're going to swing this piece up and out of the way because we need to work on this section first. So the first thing we're going to do is just swing the arms out and get them out of the way, and then this whole section will come up, and you will see you have two tabs and two slots, and you're just going to hinge this piece in like so, hinge it down, and then hinge it back, and that will all tab into place. Work with me, please. Work with me, please. There it goes. Tab that all in. And then you're going to swing this section down, and you can see there are two tabs there. So just swing this section down, tab all that in, and there you have his chest all done. You can straighten his head out if you want. Take the arms, rotate them 180 degrees. Come under here, open this panel, flip out the hand, close that panel back up. Same thing on the other side. Open this panel, flip the hand out, close that panel up, and to finish him off, take this piece, hinge it up so that the missile rack is facing towards you. Take this piece, bring it down, rotate it forward so that it is facing towards the front. And with that all said and done, here is Megatronus Prime in his robot mode. And I must say, I am a very big fan of how this figure has turned out. But let's go ahead and take a look at the details here on this figure, you can see the head sculpt done nicely with some gunmetal gray and some purple with the gold there on the eyes and the mouth plate to make it look like he is burning on the inside. Here you have some purple with some more of that yellow. Nice details all throughout the chest. Nice little touches of paint as well. Some nice paint down through here and on the hip skirts. Looks very nice. Nice details through there. Nice gunmetal gray used for the thighs. Some nice yellow and purple down the leg. Nice gunmetal gray there. Some more on the toes. Looks very nice. On the arms, you have some nice silver. Some nice details all throughout the forearm. Nice purple fists. You have your missiles there and your little scope or whatever that's supposed to be there on that side. As far as backpack goes, there really isn't one. They did a great job filling this figure out. You can see no hollow spaces as you would expect from a leader class, and the backpack is pretty compact. So overall, I think they did a really good job with this figure, and I'm really pleased with the way he's turned out in robot mode. And when it comes to transformation, he is very well equipped in this area as well. The head can rotate a full 360. It can look up a little bit and down slightly. The arms can rotate a full 360. They can move outwards. They can rotate at the elbow. You do get a nice elbow joint over 90 degrees. Rotate at the bicep, not the elbow. The shoulders themselves are on a double hinge, so you can swing that out if you want, which is a very nice touch of articulation. The wrists are ball joints, so you can rotate them around. You can move them in and out slightly. And you can also open the hand. These 4 fingers are all on one hinge, so that is a nice touch. Hip skirts can move, of course. The waists can rotate very nicely. The legs can kick forward that far. They can kick backwards just as far. Outward motion you get almost a full split before it hits that little piece there. You do get thigh rotation. You do get knee rotation. You do get little over 90 degrees of bend at the knee, and the ankles can move up and down, and they can, of course, get a nice deep pivot. So overall, articulation-wise, this guy is certainly fully equipped. And coming back to the accessories for a second, you do split this piece off going into robot mode, and to finish the transformation for the Rec 1 blaster, you just rotate this up and back, and you come here and pull this piece down so that now the post is facing downward. And here you have the Rec 1 blaster in robot mode configuration. You can see nice silver paint, the MEGATRONUS logo, nice gold there, looks very nice. And for this piece, what you do is you just pull the hinge down, and you can see that is what that piece looks like now. And all the weapons can store on the robot mode. So if we just flip him around, basically what you can do with this weapon is you can plug it here. But if you want to store it, I think it's better to just plug it on the back of his arm. That you can do there. The instructions say to put it there, but I would put it there if you're trying to store it. The Rec 1 blaster will tab onto the back of the other shoulder, just like so. And we can bring in the axe and this sword, or whatever I've been calling this, spear, axe, I don't know what it is, but you can tab these onto the back as well. So just tab that on there, tab that on there, and if you want, you can have MEGATRONUS storing all his weaponry. But if you think this guy looks cool now, we can really make him look awesome. So we're going to start with the accessories. We can bring in this piece that we'll just tab in here. And the instructions have you pointing it forward, but I found that that kind of looks a little weird. I mean, you can have it like that, or you can have it up like Megatron wears his, but I'll just leave it there for now. We can bring in the Rec 1 blaster, and there are many ports here on the arm. You have that one, that one, that one. Choose your poison, pick your poison. But I plug mine into the one in the middle. So that looks like that. And then we can bring in the sword and the axe. Now you can have him holding these separately if you want, but what I like to do to kind of represent the weapon he has in Transformers 1 is I like to combine the two together like so. And whoa, now don't be dropping. You do have to open his hand for this, and this will just tab right up into the back of his hand. Focus. So this will just tab right into the back of his hand, and then you can close his fingers over top of it. So you can have that super spear look going on there. And no, we're not finished yet. We can make this guy look absolutely awesome if we bring in our flame pieces. And you take these two smaller ones and they will tab into ports back here. So just tab that one in, come here with this one, tab this one in, and then you bring in the big boys and they will tab into each shoulder. So what I like to do is tab this one into this shoulder, if it will tab for me, and tab this one into the opposite shoulder, of course. And that looks absolutely awesome. That is Megatronus all armed up, all flamed up, and I have to say this looks absolutely amazing. And for a few quick comparisons with Megatronus here, first, here he is with the concept art. So you can see just how close they got this guy to what they were basing him off of. Here's a comparison I've deemed necessary. Studio Series 91, The Fallen. So you can see how Megatronus The Fallen looks with his live-action Bayverse self. And lastly, but of course not least, here he is with the rest of the primes so far. Here is Prima, and here is Solus. So you can see how the primes are looking so far, and I think they're looking very, very good so far. Can't wait to get, I think Alchemist and Onyx are the next ones to come out. So can't wait to get those guys in hand, and I must say, seeing this Megatronus Prime makes me really hope that they do a Transformers 1 version. So that is my review for the Transformers Age of the Primes leader class, the 13 Megatronus the Fallen, and this is a buy. Get this figure as soon as you see it. If you can find this guy even for retail price, I would 100% recommend picking him up. The tank mode looks awesome. The robot mode is maybe one of the coolest robot modes I've ever seen. I love the way this looks. The flames just make it look so good. Articulation is really, really good. Details are awesome. Just a really cool figure to play with. I've transformed him back and forth many times already, and I'm sure I'll do it even more over the coming days. I've only had this figure for a few days now, but I would 100% recommend it. I think this guy is awesome. If I had to rate him, it's going to be a 10 out of 10. I know I don't do it often, but this is a perfect rated figure for me. So that is my review for the Transformers Age of the Primes leader class, the 13 Megatronus the Fallen. By this guy, he gets a 10 out of 10 from me. And remember, don't sacrifice the things you love for the approval of others. I'll see you guys in the next one. And until then, roll out. Peace.